A girl accidentally heard her boyfriend say he was just messing around with her. Later, when her boyfriend proposed, she turned him down without a second thought. She thought they'd never cross paths again for the rest of their lives, but fate brought them back together 5 years later in a plane accident. At the time, the girl was a first officer flying a flight when the captain suddenly had a heart attack and couldn't pilot. In the emergency, she had to call the tower for help, and the person answering the call was exactly that guy. Hearing his familiar voice again, all the fear in her heart vanished instantly. After all these years apart, he could still easily affect her mood. In the end, with their tacit cooperation, the plane landed safely back at the airport. Afterwards, the girl didn't think much of this encounter over the radio, but the guy had already been unable to contain his excitement. When her crew held a celebration dinner, the guy made up an excuse about not having enough seats and squeezed in next to her to share the table. Memories of the good and bad times flooded back, and she quickly tried to leave, but he stopped her. Teasing her, he asked if she was scared. To prove she'd long moved on, the girl sat back down confidently. Before long, a stranger girl came over to hit on the guy, asking for his contact info. With a smile, he held up his left hand, showing off the eye-catching ring on his ring finger. Her heart still twinged with pain. She thought he was married now, but little did she know that was the exact ring he'd used to propose to her back then. Afraid of being seen through, she hastily looked away, but his gaze had already drifted from the ring to her. Seeing her cold attitude, his heart was a mix of emotions. He couldn't understand why she was so unforgiving, never realizing he was the one who'd ruined their happiness. Once, they were deeply in love and had long promised to spend their whole lives together. But a friend of his had deliberately stirred things up in front of him, slandering her as a player who fell for anyone good-looking. The guy had a fragile ego, caught up in the moment. He'd spoken without thinking, saying he was just messing around with her too. He had no idea she'd arrived just in time to hear every word. In that instant, she felt like all her years of deep affection had been nothing but a joke. From that day on, she'd made up her mind to leave him for good. She never thought fate would bring them together again. Now, seeing her indifference, the guy could only walk away dejectedly. But seeing her again only strengthened his resolve to win her back. The next day, he specifically bought a house right across the street from hers, just to have more chances to see her. When the girl saw her ex-boyfriend of 5 years suddenly become her neighbor, she couldn't help overthinking, thinking he still had feelings for her. But his words shattered that illusion. It's close to the airport. Both of them were a bit stubborn, so they parted on bad terms. Back home, she muttered to herself that she'd pretend not to know him if they crossed paths again. But moments later, the doorbell rang. It was him. He held up a photo of a kitten and asked if she'd seen it. She froze when she saw the photo. That was exactly the stray cat that had wandered into her house just earlier, but she casually said she hadn't seen it. As soon as the words left her mouth, the kitten walked right out of her house. She was so embarrassed she wanted to crawl into a hole. While he grinned mischievously, teasing her, he asked if she was trying to keep the kitten for herself. She retorted, "How was I supposed to know it's yours? You clearly didn't take good care of it, letting it run away."